Hey grapplers, Professor Larry Keith here with Judo for Jiu-jitsu, and I'm coming to you tonight from my car. I am actually in my wife's car, and right now I'm waiting for my kids. My son and my daughter, they do a guitar class once a week. Besides doing jiu-jitsu every day, they're also trying to learn to be musicians as well, artistic kids. And so while I wait for them, is a perfect opportunity for me to shoot a quick video and talk about judo and jiu-jitsu and all things grappling. So that's what I'm doing right now. So the topic for today that I wanted to talk about is something I actually spoke about last night in our classes at the dojo, and that is the topic of Ukemi, or the falling practice, right? So, and the importance of falling practice, and mostly what I spoke about, and this is a topic I speak about very frequently, is that there are two main reasons why falling practice is very important for us. Number one is obvious one, that's so that we can fall safely when we receive a technique, right? So when somebody throws you, or when a takedown happens, and that can be, in practice or in competition, either way. If it's in practice, you want to fall safely so that you can do repetitions, right? You want to be able to receive those throws, and you want to minimize damage and impact to your body, right? So you want to be proficient at that so that you can do that, and so you can be a good practice partner for your partner, so you're not stiffening up, being rigid and being awkward, right? You want it to be a good practice session for both people, and then that way hopefully your partner does the same thing for you in return. Now I know some of you right now might be thinking, well, we don't do a lot of practice of falling in my jiu-jitsu academy. Well, if that's the case, then I would say that you need to kind of take it upon yourselves to do that outside of your academy. Learn falling practice, become good at falling practice, because it's just something that you need to do. So back to, when you're receiving a throw. When you're receiving a throw in practice, obviously it's for your safety in practice, but also when you're in contest, if you're receiving a throw, if you get taken down in contest, you want to be able to recover position quickly, right? If a takedown does happen to you, you don't want to be so stunned by it that you lose, you've already lost momentum. Yeah, I think if somebody's already taken you down, they've got the jump on you with momentum, and you are at a point of being reactive to their proactive, but you can switch, right? So you can gain momentum back, right? But that's hard to do if you're stunned so much by the throw, because you're so not used to receiving throws, not used to falling practice. Then you might be in big trouble, right? So that's another reason. And a third reason is if falling down outside of training. If you just slip and fall, it's good to be able to absorb that impact efficiently so you can minimize damage to your body, right? I know people that have taken some hard falls that luckily have had experience in falling practice, and so they out of instinct, out of their I should say muscle memory from their training, they were able to fall. One guy, a carpenter, fell off a ladder, did a nice back fall. Of course, was bruised up a little bit from it, but if he didn't do his back fall, he probably would have been hurt even worse. Maybe even some spinal damage or something. Like he really fell from a pretty good height. Other people too. I crashed on a mountain bike one time. This is probably 30 years ago, right? But I crashed on a mountain bike, had my feet stuck in the toe clips, and when I crashed on the mountain bike, it forced me into kind of a forward roll position. I forward rolled nicely, got a little bit of road rash, but not really much of anything. Exactly a week later, a friend of mine riding in the same area where I was riding took the almost same exact fall. I think it was tried to jump over the same thing that I tried to jump over, and he crashed almost the same way, broke his collarbone, right? And that's because he wasn't used to falling practice, right? So stuff like that does happen, outside of the academy too. So it's good to be good at your falling practice, for your own safety's sake to start off with. The number two reason that falling practice is important is the one that isn't really, I think, taken into consideration too much. Now, if you're watching this video, it's probably because you want to get better at your takedowns. You want to get better at your throws. I think the number one prerequisite for becoming good and proficient and competent and confident in your throws is first you have to be competent in your falling practice. You have to be good at your falling practice. You have to have confidence there. If you don't have confidence in your falling practice and you're trying to complete throws on somebody else, there's a couple of things that are going to happen. One, you won't be able to commit, right? And even if you do commit and maybe you get counter thrown, right? So you get dumped, and it's probably going to catch you by surprise, and it might even knock the wind out of you. You might get hurt, whatever, because you weren't expecting it and you haven't practiced your falls. Then you're going to be gun shy. You're going to hesitate to pull the trigger the next time that it's time to go for a throw or a takedown, and you're going to that hesitation will get you in trouble even worse, right? And it just kind of progresses from there. And the other thing is, when we're doing throws, sometimes there's some sacrifice throws, right? So in sacrifice throws, we're either throwing ourselves to the ground, you know, on top of our opponent, underneath our opponent, beside our opponent, behind our opponent, you know. So there's all these different places where we're going to the ground with our opponent, basically, right? If you're not confident and competent in your ability to fall, then you're definitely not going to commit to that kind of a takedown. And when we're talking about jiu-jitsu, our first goal is to get to the ground, right? We want to get the fight to the ground, and we want to be in a dominant position when we get there. If you're not competent and confident in your ability to fall, then that's unlikely. You're going to end up in a bad position. So those are the two main reasons that I would say would be why you really need to practice your falling practice. And like I said, if you're practicing in an academy that doesn't really do falling practice, chances are you're probably not practicing a lot of throws either. I would, if I were you, practice outside of the dojo, practice outside of the academy, work on your falling practice. You can start at a low level. You don't even have to have mats. You can just practice the side fall position, the back fall position, front fall position, practice low level forward rolls, right? Shoulder rolls, you know, forward and backwards, to get your body tuned up and used to developing that muscle memory to kind of land in those positions. Then gradually work your way up to medium level, and then up to high level. High level would be, you know, from standing, right? And then once you get to that level and get comfortable with that, then that's great. If you happen to take a bad fall later on, you might get a little bit hesitant to do that again. Go back and start from the beginning. Go back to your low level and work your way back up. And that's kind of something that's going to go on and on and on, because you are going to take a hard fall occasionally, either because your partner messed up or you messed up, or something happened, right? So get back on the horse, but start at a low level, mid level, high level, and you should be fine. So work on your accuracy first. Speed, power, timing, all that kind of stuff comes later, but work on accuracy first. So that's my take for today, and my judo from the car, whatever we want to call this. So everybody have a great night, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.